You talked there about the forklift truck, which actually we call it that as well, so that's okay. That's transatlantic term. And you talked about that as an example of your technical skills, technical training with VR. Is there any kind of work that you can talk us through? Any kind of other examples of where virtual reality training has helped in teaching some more of the technical, more physical skills?
Yeah. There's one example that we did for a university that I can talk to a little bit. What's interesting is it ties into your last point there about, Walmart and being able to recreate these scenarios, right? Where, how do you create an active shooter type scenario without a ton of actors or some other, very complex thing. And so not only does VR, technical skills training provide a really excellent tool for scaling your training, right? Where you can create these large scale scenarios for one person and you can repeat that. You can also, but where I was going with that actually is that the other thing about this is not only can you recreate these interesting scenarios, is it safe?
Mm.
Right. And so one of the first kind of hands-on technical pieces we did was for a science lab in a university, and they wanted to teach students about the basics of battery technology. And so using what looks like a fish tank, right, you can actually create a battery using, oh man, I don't remember all the technical components of a battery, but is you can, so there's a couple of things that was really interesting. Is one is it gave students the ability to physically use the physically, right, pick up and having to move the anode and the diode and put these into the tank of water. And so they were able to do that, hook up a battery, create this electrical current. And so they were able to do this hands-on training as if they were in a real lab, but it was also 100% safe, right? There was no opportunity for anybody to get shocked or, in our current, environment, right? It could all be done remotely, but you're still getting that in-person lab experience.
Mm.
And so that was really interesting. And then the other part that by taking this into a VR space that we found interesting is that we were able to show inside the experience like how the electricity molecules were flowing. And so not only, it's a scalable solution, it's a hands-on solution that's still giving you the opportunity to physically interact with things. But now we can actually add another level of information where if you were to really do this in a tank of water, you can't see the molecular structure of the electricity changing and how it works in the water, right? That concept is impossible to show in real life. And so we got to actually kind of take the digital aspect of that experience as well and actually add another layer that you wouldn't have in real life. So it's like we got kind of to take the best of both worlds of what a physical experience of like an in-lab experience would be like, but then also, adding more information and more learning opportunity for students because this was a digital environment.
Exactly. So not only using virtual reality to create hyper realistic scenarios that people can learn from, but also augmenting that with additional information to make them better than a real life scenario so that there's additional learning and additional information being shared. So